Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
And remember this. Life is not a fairy tale. If you lose your shoe at midnight, you're drunk. Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America. Followed by a Patriot. Please call in. Help me this morning. I got a cold. Good morning. And a good morning to you and yours. Zeb at the Ranch on this Monday, November 25th. And, of course, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of all the tires and tread designs to get you through any muck and mire out on the highways, okay? And, of course, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, the sugar queen, the sugar cookie queen. God bless you for calling in this morning. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Love that lady. Right now it's time for the weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by K&R Rental. You know, they've got all the tools and equipment you need to finish any kind of a job. Don't forget, and boy, with the forecast coming up here, you probably better hurry, and they've got all the snakes for your drains, so when you have company, maybe you won't have any problems. And they've got long and short-term rental on their tools, and please, if you're not sure what you need, call them. They can help. 678-3122. K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
If you were wondering when the snow is going to arrive, well, apparently this is the week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting a 30% chance of snow showers for today. High of 36 tonight. Those clouds are going to be sticking around with a low of 20. For Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies. Not really much snowfall during the day. High of 35. 50% chance of snow showers for Tuesday night. We are expecting a low of 20. 70% chance of snow showers for Wednesday, expecting a high of about 39, and accumulations of less than 1 inch possible then by Thanksgiving Day. 50% chance of snow. We're expecting about an inch, and cloudy skies with a high near 31. That's a look at your weather forecast for 7.
Thank you, Gina. Excuse me. You're going to have to put up with my cold today, folks. I apologize. K&R Rental brings you the weather, and they're located at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Roger and the crew get there early in the morning to serve you on the Burley-Paul Highway, 678-3122. You give them a call today. Caller, I'll be there in a minute. I got to pay some bills while I still have a voice left. And, of course, I want to acknowledge our friends at Daryl's Cleaners, and they're located at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Kevin, Cindy, the whole crew with the best of dry cleaning, and if you don't have time to do your washing, they will wash, dry, fold, and iron all your clothes, just like Mama used to, at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Please stop in, see our friends today. One other quick note, I want to remind everybody about Ramsey Heating and Electric. Oh, my goodness sakes, if you have any problems at all trying to heat your home during the wintertime, something happens to your furnace or whatever, call the professionals. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. And they're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday for literally all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs from a company that's been in business over 7 decades. Wow! Ramsey Heating and Electric. You get a hold of them today. Caller, good morning, and thank you for your call.
Well, good morning, Zeb. You know, the United States of America is the greatest country that the Lord has provided us. But, you know, we have not won a war since World War II. We always go to war, but we don't seem to go to war to win. And it is so refreshing to have a President of the United States that wants to win every single time.
Well, I absolutely agree with you, Keith. I am turning into a very kind of a irascible old gent that is sick and tired of the way this country is doing things, and I am very happy to see Donald Trump in as president. I want to see Donald Trump stay in for another term. I want to see a total demise and fragmentation of the Democratic Party. I want to see people like Adam Schiff absolutely run with his tail between his legs. And I want to see some pride in America to when you get in the ring with somebody, you whoop them and you walk away.
You know, the thing that brought this up with me is about this Eddie Gallagher.
Yeah.
Who was a Navy SEAL, and he had 2 other people. I don't know the exact circumstances there, but if somebody is willing to put their life on the line to fight for a country that we're not going to win, and then they punish you. And I'm so proud of our President of the United States to exonerate this person.
I am too. I don't know all the facts, nor do you, like you already stated, but I will say this. We take our young men and women and we put them in the absolute most heinous, scariest, and death-defying means and methods of laying in a foxhole or trudging through the sand or the jungle, whatever, and they have to be trained killers, literally. But when they do kill someone, talking about the enemy, and then to have people that sit in Washington, D.C. wearing 3-piece suits and wingtip shoes come after them and try to litigate against them and try to put them in prison, I get really offended.
You know, you couldn't have said it better. But I think that this John Bolton is a warmonger. I think he's one of them kind of people that thinks we have to be at war to keep our economy growing.
Well, I'm not going to take a lot of time talking about John Bolton this morning because John Bolton, as far as I'm concerned, is a has-been, a memory, and I'm not going to look in the rear-view mirror and worry about John Bolton. There's plenty of things laying in the big window, the front windshield, that I'm more worried about. And by the way, I want to thank you and Nancy for all the wonderful desserts that you provided us. God bless you, and I know you're going to be leaving next weekend for Vegas, but thank you. I appreciate your calls. Keith, I got to run. Thank you.
Yeah, we've got to get you through the winter.
Okay. All right. God bless you, man. Thanks.
See you. Bye.
Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away. I want to remind everybody about Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. And, boy, can they help you with all your livestock. And I really want to remind you, it's going to cool off a bunch. Going to get doggone cold. Make sure that all your livestock, I don't care if we're talking puppy dogs, kitty cats, or dairy cattle, make sure they've got really great, adequate supplies of water. Make sure they've got all their vaccinations too. And like for your dogs, make sure they've got a shelter to get underneath, please. All of this and more from Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street in Heyburn, 678-1177, where they have warm hearts for cold noses. Caller, you're on the air. Quickly, go ahead.
Good morning, Jeff. The menu for the Bradley Senior Center is chili, cornbread, salad, and yummy dessert.
Whoa, and all of that for $5, right, Joe?
That's right, and don't forget Wednesday night from 4 to 7:30 is Thanksgiving dinner at the Senior Center. Just a free will offering.
Okay. Joe Taylor, I want to extend to you and all the seniors over there at the Senior Center on Overland and Burley a very, very happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you and all you do for us. We appreciate you.
All right, my friend. Thank you very, very much. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to remind you, too, about Dino Septic Service. They are standing out in the cold doing jobs you don't want to do, and that includes septic tank pumping, liquid waste removal, sewer and sink drain lines clean, backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed, all of this and so much more by the professionals. They really do a great job for you. We've had them work for us. They are the best. Dino Septic Service. Call them at 436-6526 or 678-1638. Dino Septic Service with, of course, the big truck that says smells cargo on the way. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to say a couple of things here this morning. Number one, I apologize for the cold and the raspy voice, and sometimes I'll have to turn the mic off and cough. Deanne and I, we are sharing a husband and wife cold. She got it, I got it. We really are fighting this thing. A lot of people are a lot worse off, but I hope everybody gets over it by Thanksgiving and has a wonderful Thanksgiving day. 32 degrees outside, and I want to say thank you also to all the lunch bunchers. Last week we had a great lunch bunch. Thank you. Now tomorrow, let me make sure I got this right. Tomorrow at Community Builders Hardware Store in Murtaugh, they're going to have a baked food sale. And they're going to have a lot of goodies. They're going to have a lot of prizes to buy raffle tickets for. And the proceeds are all going to go to the benefit for Rosie Cummins. She is a wonderful, wonderful young lady. And then on Thanksgiving Day, they're going to have the, what do they call it, the wobble, gobble, gobble, wobble, whatever, run. And that's going to be on Thanksgiving morning. For more information on that, call Shayla Hepworth at 731-1666. Okay, more information. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Denny's Restaurant. We were over there, like I said last week, for lunch bunch at 611 North Overland and Burley, and they've got another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls, and the food is phenomenal. And I had my usual. I love breakfast, and you can go in for breakfast, lunch, and dinner anytime, all the time at Denny's Restaurant. It is America's Diner, and the folks there are so friendly. Michelle and the whole staff, Thomas, I mean, they are the great, great folks at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland and Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, America's Diner. The other day, I was watching television. I think it was Saturday morning, early. And a story came across Fox News, and it just made me wonder. This president, Donald Trump, is being attacked on all sides. Everybody is throwing rocks at this man. Everybody is throwing rocks at his family. Everybody, out of pure hatred on the left, is doing all they can to subject this man to the lowest and most vile treatment while he's president of the United States. But a lot of people, as a matter of fact, most of the country, probably was not aware, and I believe it was on Friday in the wee hours of the morning, 3 a.m. Eastern Time. The president and his wife went to Dover Air Force Base in the dark of the early morning hours and the cold and stood outside as they welcomed the cargo planes coming back to Dover Air Force Base with our dead soldiers. They stood outside with the families. They stood outside in the cold and welcomed home these soldiers for the last time and tried to give solace to the families. 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, most everyone else slept. There wasn't any media coverage on this. There wasn't anybody saying, well, look what President and Mrs. Trump did. No, the only one that mentioned it was Fox News. Everybody else is always in the mode of hate, and more hate. And as of this morning, and all the way up till the election this next fall in November, I am going to go after these people. They are nothing more than rabid, hate-filled dogs. And I think it's about time that some, or for that matter, any, credit is given to this man, his wife, and his family, who made it a point, without any fanfare, any media coverage, to go out there to Dover and welcome home our soldiers for the last time. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I am fed up with the media. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away. I want to remind everybody about our old buddy Rick over at Mountain Transmissions, wishing you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving. Mountain Transmissions at 504 East Main Street in Burley, and he offers free estimates and free diagnosis on your trannies. I'm telling you, you want to go forward, but you're going back, you got a problem. Call Rick at 678-9110. Mountain Transmissions, wishing you a very happy Thanksgiving. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. And, you know, what you're saying, the sacrifice that our bravest, in many cases, the finest young men that are out there, and unfortunately, we haven't won a war since World War II because we've been fighting under the United Nations. In spite of that, people that are called to duty, in many cases they volunteer. Certainly the Vietnam War was not a volunteer situation. It was, you were drafted. But I can guarantee you the vile press here, they will do anything they can to denigrate President Trump and his family. Why, if the same thing would have happened to Obama's kids and family, the way they've been treating Trump, why, there would have been such a public outroar about the whole thing. But it's just incredible that we've allowed our constitutional republic to be drugged through the mud of this impeachment, which is nothing but a farce and a sham. The Adam Schiff show, so to speak, and Pelosi. But that, we've got a lot of great Americans, and I know a lot of them are listening to your program. And we still have the truth on our side. We have the Constitution. We have the Declaration of Independence. But we do have a lot of work to do. Alex Newman gave a tremendous presentation last week. I don't know if any of your people happened to be there in person. There was a nice crowd, very nice crowd, and he outlined the problems we have in education, and I thank you very much for having him on your program.
Well, you're very, very welcome. Adrian, I've got to jump in here. I'm running a little bit late on all my Thanksgiving spots, but I want to say thank you for providing the information on having Mr. Newman on my program, and we in turn are going to be having him back on another repeat performance phone call in the very near future. Thank you for what you did. I got to scoot, but thank you very much.
Yeah, and I have his contact information. You probably have too. But anyway, he's a tremendous patriot, and we have a lot of people like that. We need to support Trump. The Mitt Romneys and those denigrate President Trump. I mean, I don't know where they're coming from. But
All right.
they can't seem to see the forest for the trees, but Trump has made this country greater again, and we need to support him everywhere we can. By our prayers morning and night would be helpful, too.
I agree with you, Adrian. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving to you, my friend. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Happy Thanksgiving wishes come out to you folks from Butte Irrigation at 116 South, 600 West in Paul, and also another location on Kimberly Road, north of Kimberly by Red Cap Corner. Butte Irrigation, they will get you wet. They've got all the parts and service for you and your irrigation needs. Butte Irrigation, along with Golden Valley Warehouse, 1000 South, 468 West of Burley. And I'll tell you, the Adams family, good folks. They've had that Golden Valley Warehouse for a long time. The best of quality seed, barley, wheat, triticale, oats, alfalfa, everything you need right there with Golden Valley Warehouse. And my dear friend Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 South of Paul. And don't forget, Vicky's Country Garden, of course, with gift certificates for Christmas for stocking stuffers. Oh, you better call her at 431-5667. All of these great folks wishing you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving. Absolutely. One thing I want to say right here before we leave this story about Donald Trump, the animus and the hurtful sayings and the denigration of our president. I never heard anyone call into my program and use the kind of gutter language that when Obama was in office. I despised that man as a president, but I respected the office of the presidency, and I expected my listeners, and they did, to do the same with respect. But what's going on now is it's just hardly ever is the president terminology affiliated with his name. It's always Trump, 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 last name, and then they go into a diatribe. It is President Trump, our president. And I'll bet you that I'd stick 99% of the 360 million people living here in the United States probably did not know about the president and his wife welcoming back our soldiers that had given the ultimate sacrifices. They stood in the cold at 3 a.m. in the morning at Dover Air Force Base. But the left and the Democrats, it's so much easier for them to just hate. I'm going to give away some cookies right now, and our cookie sponsor is, I'm sucking on a cough drop, everybody, bear with me. Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert, right on the square. Oh, my goodness, what a bakery. Oh, double my goodness, what a great restaurant for you. And they have delicious meals, fantastic breakfasts over there, and a bakery that'll knock your socks off. If you are the winner of our question for the dozen cookies, just call them, let them know when you'll be in there to pick them up, all right? Here is an easy one, I think. On the old TV series, the Dick Van Dyke Show, what was the little boy's character name? Now, we had Rob and Laura, and what was their little boy's character name on that show? Give me a call on the old TV show, the Dick Van Dyke Show. What was the little boy's name that played the son to Rob and Laura Petrie? What was his name? Call me at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a call. There were Rob and Laura Petrie. And then, what was the little boy's name? Quickly, 436. I can see a lot of you running to your computer and going, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I want to win those cookies. While I'm waiting for that call, I want to tell you December 9th at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Don't forget that at 11 o'clock they're going to have their big bread stock cow sale. 1,000 head of ripping good heifers and cows, all ages. And if you want to consign, call our friend Cade Rogge. He's putting this all together at 431-0074 or Merv May at 431-573. 888-203-5935. This is the sale, cowboys, cowgirls, to put a good string of cattle together. December 9th at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 11 o'clock bread stock cow sale. Don't you miss it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. What's the answer?
Well, I think Richie.
Who is this?
This is, well, to you, Johnny.
Well, that's not going to cut the cake. What's your whole name? Oh, go ahead and tell everybody your name. It just went over my head there for a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Art Smith.
Oh, Art, I'll tell you what. When you said Johnny, all of a sudden, Johnny, you're not Johnny. And I thought, oh, my goodness. All right, well, I'll tell you what. You won the cookies. And if you'll call them and let them know when you'll be coming over to get them, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, before you go, I'm going to put you on the spot, okay? You got to do just one line of I Hear the Train A-Comin'. One line.
Oh, I haven't sang it so long. This is going to be kind of embarrassing for everybody. Okay. I hear the train a-comin'.
That's good enough.
I've seen the sunshine since I don't know when.
Oh, God bless you, man. Thanks for calling. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Had to hit the mic switch and cough a little bit, so pardon me. Excuse me. Congratulations to that man. It was Richie. Richie was the right answer, and he wins the cookies. Thank you very much. Oh, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Something happened Saturday that absolutely cannot be allowed to happen again anywhere in this United States. It was so maddening and so frustrating, and security was so lax, if any, and the problem that was caused and created probably will be copycatted, and we are in for more of this insanity. What am I talking about? I'll tell you right after this. Don't forget Mad River Laser on the square over in Rupert, proudly voted the best unique gift shop 3 years running, 17, 18, and 19, located at 502 East Street in Rupert. Holy smokes, they're going to have a huge Black Friday sale, oh my, and they're going to have a lot of markdowns on your favorite items, and they've got T-shirts, 2 for $25, hoodies, 2 for $50, woo, gifts, free gifts, samples, everything at Mad River Laser. I love that store. I love the people. 502 East Street in Rupert, coming up on the big Black Friday sale this Friday. When I first heard about this, I got to admit, I was absolutely ready to throw one of my Justin boots through the TV screen. But Saturday at the Harvard-Yale football game, I don't know if you've heard this or not, protesters, punk kids, wet behind the ear punk kids, at halftime, just before the conclusion of halftime, went down the stairs, through the gates, and onto the football field, and staged a protest for climate change. Now, they disrupted the whole game for over an hour. And finally, they were escorted off the field by police. And about 30 of them were arrested. Good. That's all I can say is good. But what this did was set a trend. And these punk kids that know nothing about what's going on in the world today. They've never had to write out a payroll. They've never had to pay their bills, probably haven't had to worry about buying insurance for their kids or their family, their home, their car, whatever. We're sitting in the middle of this football field, and they were protesting climate change and saying that Harvard University and, of course, Yale should stop any and all studies of fossil fuels and any and all usage of fossil fuels. Now let's just talk about how dumb that really is. There would not have been a football game if it had not been for fossil fuels. You say, what are you talking about? Well, what about the audience? What about the people driving to and going home from that football game? Oh, certainly a very small percentage could take mass transit. But the larger percentage got in their cars, tailgated out in the parking lot, enjoyed the afternoon, and went to the football game and then drove home. But if you eliminate fossil fuels, there wouldn't be a game. There wouldn't be a basketball game. There wouldn't be a theatrical performance. There wouldn't be a movie theater that would have anybody in it. These punks and climate change crazies do not really understand the method and means that they are trying to stop, literally, civilization in its tracks. We have many of them here, living right here in the Magic Valley. And they get a chance to espouse their stupidity in the Times News. But just think about what fuel and energy allow us to do. They allow us to go to the grocery store. They allow us to go to our children's games, our children's concerts. They allow us to go to the hospital and see people. They allow emergency vehicles to go and take people to the hospital. They allow fire trucks to come and stop the fire at your home. And yet these climate change radical kooks, and they are, I'm not going to be polite about it, want everything stopped. They just, we got to stop the usage of fossil fuels. Okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Come up with an answer. And if you want climate change, go ahead, tell me, what's the perceived perfect climate that you want here for the state of Idaho? Come on, give me all the facts. Oh, you want it to be 76 and you want it to be lovely and sunshiny every day. You can't change climate. There's only one being that can, and that's God. And that's something that these people have forgot. God absolutely is in control. But now, with these crazy punk kids, college students that can't go come here from Sikkim, yelling, hey, hey, ho, ho, fossil fuels have got to go, this idiocy probably will spawn other stupid events like what they did. They held up the game. They held up people getting home and possibly going to dinners or possibly going some other meeting that night. They held up everybody for their stupidity and their selfishness and their idiocy. These people are not the brightest bulbs in the fixture. None of them. They'll sit there and rail and say, we're all going to burn up in 12 years. No, we are not. I have had some of the most acclaimed meteorologists and people that really understand what's going on with climate change, if there is any, and the cyclical part of what we're seeing. And gee whiz, golly, for the last couple of weeks, what they said way last spring is coming true about having a much colder cyclical change going into this fall and winter across the United States. A couple of days ago, 70% and more of the United States was freezing. Literally. Under 32 degrees. Over 70%. All they want is control. And then, when you talk about these kids, somebody should have slammed the gate, stopped all of them from coming onto the football field, the dangers, the hazards. Quite frankly, I think they should have told both football teams, Harvard and Yale, clear the field. Caller, I'm going to ask your indulgence. Stay with me just a minute. I want to be sure and tell everybody about Barry Equipment and Rental. Sales, service, and parts at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. They've got all the big dudes to take care of all the lifting, the digging, the pushing, and the carrying. They've got the Doosan wheel loaders, excavators, all the Bobcats. They got great financing programs to buy, great lease programs. What are you waiting for? Just get a hold of them today. Barry Equipment and Rental, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location for Barry Equipment and Rental. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, when it comes to energy and the winter, and if it's bitter cold, there was brownouts in California, but it was during a time when it wasn't cold. Of course, it doesn't get as cold in Southern California, but in parts of this country, you can die because of the cold. And if there's no energy to heat your home, whether or not it's oil, natural gas, or electricity, it becomes, it's unbelievable that we even would be in a situation like this, like a third world country. And it's so obvious what they're doing, and people that live right underneath the nose of it don't ever seem to understand or care. I just don't know what it's going to take for people to wake up.
Randy, I have said on this program for a long time, and I'm not going to back off. I'm not going to weaken, or I'm not going to try to moisturize some of my harsh words. But this climate change religion has been accepted by people that should know better, people that can look into the science of it themselves. They buy into well, I'll give you a phony statement. And then let you respond. They always come back like Jim Jones in his op-ed pieces and other people that write that really don't understand what they're talking about. 97% of the world scientists. Well, that's not true. 97% of the scientists that were asked by a personal study thought there was climate change. But when they started talking to scientists all around the globe that looked at this thing and said, no, we're in a cyclical pattern of climate change, and it's going now the other way to a colder climate. They don't tell you that.
Well, of course not, and they're not going to. And it's such a shame that they were willing to destroy a functioning system that is clean as again, we're back to you're closing the coal-fired power plant. It's so infuriating. People say, well, how do you have time to call in on the phone? Well, usually I take a few minutes and I do it, but I don't know that it's helping. I hope, but it's only good.
Don't ever underestimate the power of a phone call and the power of someone listening to you. Never underestimate that. Ever. I don't want to ever hear you say that again, because that's not true. You were speaking out. Wait a minute. You used your free speech and the First Amendment of this country to speak out, and others out there in the audience are probably saying, whether they agree with you or not, at least he's speaking out, and we need to form our own opinion on this. But right now, the idiocy and the incompetency and the absolute danger of buying into this supposed climate change is going to kill this great country.
Well, everything is set up on a certain system, and it's just like, the other day it was chilly and there wasn't a drop of wind, and what's so funny is it'll be absolutely dead calm, and I'll see them spinners spinning.
Yeah.
Some of them are not. Some of them are.
Yeah.
Now, what in the hell is going on, Zeb?
Well, what's going on is a very well advertised, very well rehearsed, very well financed way of getting control over the American public. And that's by taking away energy and making everybody subservient to living in communes, moving to communities within the city limits, and eliminating any personal travel or growth. I am fed up with these people because I just have no time for them.
Well, they force themselves on us, and the busy, hard-working people don't have time to fight back as much as they'd like because they're running around doing what's necessary and preparing for Thanksgiving because they care about their family and their God-fearing people. And the rest of them, I don't know what they do or what they think. It's frightening.
Yeah, but address the problem here, Randy. Randy, I want you to just quickly, and I'm only going to give you 30 seconds because then I got a weather forecast I get it on. Address the problem of the idiocy and incompetency of the people that were running the football game, Yale and Harvard, of letting these punks on the field. They should have shut them down, dragged them by the nape of their neck off the field, and piled them up outside the stadium.
See, we tolerate it because we're so afraid of the repercussions of intolerance towards these people. Those people that storm the field are the ones who are intolerant towards us.
I agree. Hey, man, I always appreciate your phone call. Randy, I got to run. Thank you. God bless. Weather forecast. I want to just say this real quick. By letting these punk kids that know nothing and are not responsible take over the field and disrupt the procedure of not only the game and the halftime and the bands trying to get off the field and everything else and the continuation of the game, I'm serious. Everyone should have been dragged by the nape of their neck out on the street, piled up, said, don't move, you're all arrested. Time for the weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And I absolutely suggest you give them a call at their number 417-8799 and make sure that you treat your perhaps lack of hearing today. I guarantee you they're right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room, and they want to serve you. Find that you're missing some parts of conversation, or maybe you can't hear and you're going, Martha, I can't hear you. Hey, you better call them and make a hearing screening for today. 417-8799. 417-8799. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
If you were wondering when the snow is going to arrive, well, apparently this is the week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting a 30% chance of snow showers for today. High of 36 tonight. Those clouds are going to be sticking around with a low of 20. For Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies. Not really much snowfall during the day. High of 35. 50% chance of snow showers for Tuesday night. We are expecting a low of 20. 70% chance of snow showers for Wednesday, expecting a high of about 39, and accumulations of less than 1 inch possible then by Thanksgiving Day. 50% chance of snow. We're expecting about an inch, and cloudy skies with a high near 31. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebeth Rand.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And hearing affects every aspect of your life. Please make sure you can hear. Call them for an appointment at 417-8799. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. By the way, CBD, American Shaman, has essential oils from plant therapy and blends, single oils, roller balls, which make great gifts for friends and family. And I'll tell you what, I wish I'd have stopped in there before this weekend because of the colds Deanne and I got. You can stay healthier through cold and flu season, and they can help teach you the properties of these essential oils along with the benefits of CBDs. Come see them at American Shaman, 1259 Overland Avenue in Burley. Really nice people, open Monday through Friday, 10 to 5, and they wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. We got some problems in this country, and it's time to go back to the basics of right, wrong, black, white. Hey, how dare these students stop a football game, one of the oldest rivalries in the history of American college football, and sit out on the field and stop everything from going on, and all the supposed leadership just sits back and goes, what do we do now? That's ridiculous. As I said, they should have been pulled off the field by the nape of their necks and arrested, all chained together outside by a big light pole. A big light pole. This is absolutely insane that they are going to disrupt a game like this and put forth their own stupidity and stop everyone from having an enjoyable afternoon. Unbelievable. By the way, happy birthday wishes go to my neighbor about, quarter mile down the road, Rocky Matthews. Happy birthday today. Happy birthday to old Rock. Hope he has many, many more. Let's see, what else have we got here? Did you see? They were having a kind of an exhibition for the so-called electric Tesla pickup. It is unbelievably and the most ugly-looking vehicle I have ever seen in my life. And they were bragging about this electric Tesla pickup. I cannot even describe to you what it looks like. If you have not seen it, it is a ugly piece of tin that has no shape or form. And at this exhibition, the owner, Elon Musk, they were going to show everybody what a secure vehicle it is. And they picked up a rock, and they were going to show the armor-plated windows and how sturdy and tough they were. Well, a gentleman stood about 5 feet away from the side of this electric vehicle pickup, threw a rock, and broke the window. Then, to see if that wasn't just a fluke, picked up another rock of considerable size, threw it at the back window, and we have the same result, a broken window. And you talk about an exhibition in front of all the TV cameras and all the people about how great and how tough and how sturdy this automobile or pickup is. Not so much. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. The whole thing about these battery-operated vehicles, until they can prove that they have a way to last as long as a full pickup, the tank of fuel on a pickup, the distance, and also that when it comes time for those batteries to die, because batteries do die, they do wear out, that they can recycle them without hurting the environment 100%, will I ever buy into it? And I don't really think that's ever going to happen.
Well, Riley, you've hit everything right on the head. The stupidity of major informed people that have gone to various universities and are espousing electric vehicles and everything should be electric, they don't realize that what do you do when you're going from here to McDermott, Nevada, and all of a sudden a little deal on your console says, you have 10 miles left of energy. And then you're going to be out there with the buzzards, baby. And then trying to find a charging station in McDermott, Nevada might be a little tough, would it not?
I've never been there, but I imagine so. It's funny because you do see little pictures pictures every now and again of a Tesla that's run out of battery power or one of these battery-operated cars on the side of the road. And you know what they're using to get it going again? A diesel generator.
Yeah. I absolutely...
Until they can 100% say, look, we can make these batteries last 1,000 miles, will I ever believe it? And then on top of that, it's got to be able to pull equal to or more than, carry equal to or more than the weight of what the current engines do. And then the last thing would be, you got to show me when you're done with that, what's going to happen to those batteries? A lot of those batteries are way more toxic than you have
Absolutely.
Sitting in your driveway.
Absolutely. Tell me, Riley, you drive truck for a living and you go all over. And from, let's just say, Mountain Home to the Bliss exit, let's just use that area. In the wintertime, that can be a gnarly, nasty piece of freeway. And you have left Mountain Home, and you're about 20 miles out of Mountain Home, and all of a sudden the little light goes on and says, your battery's going to die. And it makes no difference whether you're going in that direction or if you're going to McDermott, Nevada, or wherever. These are very unsafe and unsecure vehicles for a family to be traveling in, and I'm not buying into their idiocy.
Well, you're right. I mean, I guess you'd have to do like you do with your pickup. You know your pickup pretty well. When you leave them out at home, you top it off just to make sure. But the other safety factor, you talk about safety, I've seen 2 fires that were recorded and watched of a car with battery power in it. I think they were Teslas. They caught on fire.
Yep,
and
they did.
Boy, the fire department couldn't put them out. They tried everything they could, but it kept short-circuiting.
I agree with you. I've got to run. I'm running late, Riley. I appreciate your call. God bless you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with the best of tires, best of tread designs, all the sizes for all vehicles. That takes care of you right there. They've got all your tires. I urge you to stop in and make sure that you get tires on your vehicle, that you can handle whatever the weather throws at you and the highways. You're all ready to go. And they've got all your tire chains, too. Don't forget the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and so much more at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got to run to the news. Rest my throat. We'll see you in 7. Oh, my goodness sakes. Good morning on a Monday, the last Monday of November, as a matter of fact. Zeb at the ranch, and I apologize up front. I've got a little bit of I've got a big cold, and I might cough occasionally, and I don't mean to be unclassy, but sometimes I can't help it. Thank you very much. Zeb at the ranch brought to you by, of course, our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with all the tires you need for your safe wintertime driving. Stop in and see them today. Along with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And our friends at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, this good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Oh, my goodness sakes, I tell you, this outfit, Western Waste Service, absolutely the best at helping you get rid of your garbage. It's so easy, and if you're not on the route service, I urge you to give them a call, find out more about it, and they'll come by once a week, pick up your garbage. It's gone. It's out of there at Western Waste Services, 734-6969, always at your disposal, okay? Real quick, too, I want to remind everybody about our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. My, they've helped me so much. And let them help you. Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists, all the exercises, and, of course, the only one of its kind in this area, the hydrotherapy pool. My goodness, if you're aching and paining and trying to recoup from a surgery or an accident, please give them a call. Let them help you. Get back to being you. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Number to call 678-1191. And real quick, before we go to our guest, I also want to remind you about our friends over at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Joel Heward, his family, and his staff serving you and your family at a time of need when there's the passing of a loved one. They are always providing the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort with the highest ethical standards and unquestioned integrity. Please call them 436 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home in Burley on East Main. Let's go to the phone line, and I'm looking forward to him doing most of the talking. Urge you to sit down, listen to a man that really knows what's going on, and that's President of Americans for Limited Government, my friend Rick Manning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Zeb. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving week.
Well, thank you, and the same back at you. I'm going through a little bit of a cold that is every year in the fall. We always get a little cold for a couple of days, but other than that, we're just hanging in and hanging on, and I'm glad to have you on the radio this morning. And happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
I'll do the talking for you so you can rest the voice.
All right, I'm going to start with something that's fairly innocuous as compared to politics, but still, it's something that really bugs me this morning. And I said earlier, first hour, for those that don't think it's a big deal, yes, it could turn into a major deal with the copycats across the country. I was absolutely appalled, and I won't tell you in cowboy verbiage how I felt, when those students went out onto the field and took control of the Harvard-Yale game and sat at midfield and stopped every activity on part of the game, the halftime, and the renewance of the third quarter for climate change. I said earlier, every one of those punk kids should have been dragged out of there by the nape of their neck, put in a pile out on the street by the light pole, and then arrested. What are your thoughts?
They should have forced the home team to forfeit the game, and that would make it so it never happened again. What they did is they basically assured that it will happen again. And, while nobody cares about Yale-Harvard, it does tell you that, if you are looking to hire, if somebody comes from Yale or Harvard, the burden of proof is on them that they're not an idiot. But the way the typical university handles this stuff is they let them get away with it, and that encourages additional bad actions. And from my perspective, the best way to have handled it would have been have the home team has to forfeit the game because it's their job to control the stadium, and they didn't do it, and so consequently the game couldn't be played. And they should have done that, and quite honestly, it would have been the last we ever heard of it.
No, I totally agree with you, Rick, but by allowing this to happen, and I watched the video, and they just literally, the people that were so-called security standing by the entry gates, they just basically, like a bullfighter over in Madrid, ole, and let them all in, and let them go on the field. And this is not going to be the end of this, because it was not curtailed, like you said, with the stoppage of having this ever happen again because of a forfeiture. It's going to grow, and I think we're going to see a copycat syndrome that's going to be really big problem.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I think it's guaranteed that will occur. It's and at some point, somebody's going to say no, and they're going to force a forfeit onto a college in an important game, and the social justice warriors are going to become pariahs on their own campuses, because they're going to take it too far. Like, let's be honest. Harvard, Yale, does anybody care? I guess if you go to Harvard or you go to Yale, you care. But it's when your fight song or when your big chant from the stands is smash them, bash them, make them relinquish the ball, it's not exactly a hardcore sport. So we've got but when it gets real, somebody's going to do it in a game that matters. And I'd hate to see somebody try to do it in an SEC game, because that'd be almost humorous to watch. But it's it's going to be copycatted. It's going to disrupt college football, and quite honestly, it's supposed to be entertainment. And they're going to turn what is entertainment into social justice warrior conversation, and they're going to do to college football what they've done, what Colin Kaepernick did to the NFL, make it make you feel bad if you actually watch it.
Yeah, and I want to jump in here and say this, Rick, and I think you'll concur with what I say. These climate change kooks, these punk kids that know nothing, but they're at a university of their choice anywhere across the United States, and they've never had to support their family, meet a payroll, sign paychecks, or have any responsibility or obligations. They don't realize that without fossil fuels, there would be no football game, there would be no basketball game, there would be no movies, there would be no theater, because how are private citizens going to get to those events without having the access of fossil fuels to get their vehicles to an event they can enjoy?
Yeah, that's right. It's beyond that. I mean, their auto response is, oh, we need to have everything be electric, and yet the oceans around Indonesia are red now because of the mining runoff from getting the raw materials to meet the electric demand of the new Elon Musk society. So, the fact of the matter is nothing's environmentally neutral. You have to have, and what we have is a pretty darn good compromise right now, and the markets have created that compromise. The bottom line for all this stuff, Zeb, is if people want electric vehicles, that's fine, but they should pay for them, and the price should not be subsidized through electric vehicle tag credits, which exist right now. And if people want to have wind supplied by windmills, that's fine. Just don't just don't put your thumb on the scale by putting wind production tax credits into place.
Right.
So people invest in windmills, not because it's a viable energy source, but because Warren Buffett and people like that need a tax break. Because that's how you effectively skew your electricity production and your automobile production in a way away from markets. Truth is, right now, alternative energy sources have a pretty good market share, and that market share is largely built on subsidies. But also, there's a certain group of people who are would be willing to pay more to subsidize that kind of energy. And if they want to pay more, that's fine. I shouldn't have to pay more.
That's right.
And quite honestly, you created really a dangerous situation from an electricity grid, from a standpoint of our ability to run our country as an industrial society. If you rely too much on any one source, fossil fuels you can rely 100% on, but the fact of the matter is we don't want to do that. But if we were relying on wind, we'd be in deep trouble. If we were relying on solar, we're in deep trouble. We need to get nuclear back into the mix, and quite honestly, we should look at smart use of hydro as opposed to, and see where hydro makes sense to become an additive to the process rather than being looking at trying to breach dams.
Absolutely. Let me switch gears, and I almost am hesitant to start the week off by talking about this subject because I wished it would just dry up, blow away, and never come onto my TV screen again. And I'm talking about the impeachment inquiry and bug-eyed Adam Schiff and his tirade with his little wooden gavel. What are we going to be subjected to next? When you look into your crystal ball and you know more than most about anything that goes on back there, what next?
Well, it's actually interesting. I didn't think I'd be saying this, but this weekend, Adam Schiff desperately was seeking for a way out of impeachment. He told, I remember which talking head he was talking to, he stated that, he's not sure he's for impeachment. He's going to have to talk to his fellow members of Congress and talk to his constituents back home to determine. And you sit there and you go, as Jake Tapper was talking to. And so you sit there and you go, what do you mean? You've been leading the impeachment trial. Here's what they're leaking. Here's what they've been floating, is that they want to do censorship of the president rather than impeachment, because what they've discovered is impeachment's going to cost them 40 to 50 seats in the House. It could be 30, but it's a significant number of seats in the House. It will guarantee that they lose control of the House. And they didn't realize that they couldn't just fake America out and have them believe them. And so it really is turned on its head politically. And now they're desperately seeking for a way out of it. And when the president says, I want a trial, what he's doing to them is he's telling them, he's calling to bluff. He's basically saying, make my day. He's Clint Eastwood saying, make my day. And it's daring them to vote for impeachment because he knows it's political suicide for the Democrats. So the political worm has turned, and that is good news. So the Democrats now are looking for a way to not impeach the president, and the president's demanding that they impeach him. I mean, it's almost Babylon Bee-esque. It's so upside down. But you got to love it. That's America.
I got to ask you, how much did you watch of the hearings last week? And when you listened to the Democrats, and they sometimes were way into the weeds with vagueness that had nothing to do with the president or anything with Zelensky, etc., it was absolutely television at its worst. And I think the Democrats really probably should have realized over the weekend, wow, did we goof up?
Well, I'll tell you what I did. I read the transcripts for the people who actually testified because I didn't really care what the Democrats said, and I quite honestly didn't care what the Republicans said. I cared what the actual people who were testifying said because that's the case. And it's interesting, and in reading what the actual people who testified said, they had no case. They had nobody. One guy, Gordon Sondland, said he presumed that there was a quid pro quo, and he was ground zero for the whole thing. What's interesting is, and I'm going to give just a little bit in the weeds, but I think it's fair. We know that on September 29th, there was a political article. I'm sorry, August 29th. August 29th, there was a political article that said that the Ukraine aid was being withheld. We know that on August 30th, according to Senator Ron Johnson, in a letter he sent, which wasn't televised, he sent a letter that he talked to the President of the United States. He said, is there a quid pro quo? And the President told him no. And he said, and I think you're going to like the outcome of our examination of whether we should go forward with aid. So on August 30th, one day after the Politico story comes out saying that there was a hold, Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin calls the president and asks him. Imagine the concept of calling and asking the president, the primary source. And Trump says no. It ends the entire inquiry there. Sondland presumes on September 1. So his presumption, after Trump's already said no quid pro quo, Trump tells Sondland no quid pro quo. But Sondland's presumption ends up being in Tim Morrison's ear and ends up spreading around all these different characters. And so you ended up with all these people operating off of Sondland, who didn't talk to anybody about it, versus Johnson, who talked to the president the day after the thing came out that there was a hold and was told no quid pro quo. What more does anybody need to know?
Amen. Amen. Out of the hearings, I've got to ask you about this next person because every time she was called upon to ask questions, she was somewhat thwarted by Adam Schiff, but boy, did the cream rise to the top, and I'm talking about New York State Congresswoman Elise Stefanik. That's one woman I think is going to be a rising star in the Republican Party and also one that's not going to be messed with. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's interesting because I have been a strong advocate of primarying her for at least 4 years. And because she's on the, shall we say, pretty far edge of the liberal side of the Republican Party. She's very strongly pro-choice. She recruits other women who are pro-choice to run. And essentially has blocked, she's part of the National Republican Congressional Committee team, and has blocked women who are not pro-choice, who don't see her view on abortion. And so I've been somebody who said, we can do better than her in New York. But she sure showed up and showed out on the Trump hearing. But I think I was impressed by her. She made it so she's not going to lose in a primary. And quite honestly, some people like me are going to have to support her in a general. But I'd caution everybody to sit there and just look at the totality of what she believes before we anoint her the next rising star female presidential candidate and all that stuff. Because quite honestly, she did a great job, and she's a But I think there's a lot of pieces in her and where she's coming from philosophically that may not be totally in alignment with people.
Very well stated. Rick, to wrap things up for this morning, I've got to ask you, I believe, now correct me if I'm wrong, I believe now with Michael Bloomberg throwing his helmet into the ring, there are still, 12, 13, 14 Democrats still running for the presidency nomination on the Democratic ticket. What does Bloomberg bring or take away by throwing his name in at this late date?
He brings about $1 billion that are going to be spent in advertising. So the advertising people are going to really like it, TVs and radio and the like. He is a. Can I give you what I think he's actually doing?
Yes.
He was going to spend about $30 million on impeachment, and by running for president, he saves 40% off his ad rates. And so he's going to be able to buy a lot more ads for the dollars because it's going to say paid for by Michael Bloomberg for president at the bottom. Plus, people can't tell him he can't advertise because it's no longer an issue ad; it's now a campaign ad. So he'll be able to run the ads anywhere he wants because stations will have to accept them under the law. So I think this is all about him being able to run maximum number of ads for the bang for the buck, because he has no realistic chance to win.
I'm really glad to hear you say that because
he'll be 78 years old by the time the election occurs.
Right.
He'll be 82 by the time his first term ended. And I think even Michael Bloomberg believes he's aged out. He's spending the money. He's going to get the best ad rate he can in the process.
Okay, and what about the rest of the field right now as far as Bernie and Elizabeth and Joe? Joe Biden last week and in the last 7 days since we've talked has made so many gaffes and has had so many mental blocks, if you will. What are your thoughts about who really is the front runner?
Elizabeth Warren is the front runner. I believe that as Biden becomes less and less viable, it becomes more and more likely that Hillary Clinton jumps in. The problem the Democrats have is that you have to be in the race by now. It's really, really hard to qualify for all the primary ballots at a certain point. And so if you jump in now, you're basically saying, I'm not going to get in the race until the first tranche of primaries are over. But it has to be somebody with huge name ID. So it's Hillary Clinton, Michelle Obama potentially jumps in. But if they don't jump in, Elizabeth Warren's their nominee.
Okay. Rick, you have been a great friend of this program, and I just really wish that we could get together sometime, shake hands, and open up a bottle of bubbly. But to you and your family, the very best of Thanksgivings. Thank you for being on our show. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Zeb, and have a happy Thanksgiving to you and all your listeners.
Thank you, sir. Really, really good guy and very knowledgeable man. And that's, of course, Richard Manning, president of Americans for Limited Government. And we have him on this program every Monday at 9:06. And really, really appreciate him. I got to pay some bills. And I want to remind you about Mad River Laser. Hello, Nicole. They're going to have a huge, that means really, really big Black Friday sale. Oh, my goodness. Markdowns on all your favorite items in their gift shop, and they're going to have their design team is offering T-shirts 2 for $25, hoodies 2 for $50. Oh my goodness, free gifts and samples. What are you waiting for? Black Friday sale at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. You stop over and see those really, really nice people today. Mad River Laser, really good folks. By the way, too, want to remind you about our friends over at American Shaman at 1259 Overland Avenue in Burley. They're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 5. And CBDs are naturally produced in your body. I did not know that. CBDs interact with your natural system in regulating a huge range of bodily processes like appetite, mood, memory, the nervous system, immune activity, blood pressure. Wow, it sounds to me like you better check it out. Stay healthier through the cold and flu season. Check out CBD American Shaman at 1259 Overland Avenue in Burley, open Monday through Friday, 10 to 5. I wished I had some right now to get rid of this doggone cold. Poor Deanne came down with a cold last week on Thursday, and then poor Zeb came down with a cold right after that. And it's going around. There's a lot of people that are far worse off. Don't forget our friends at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. And they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. And I urge you to stop over. Now, you heard the forecast. Yeah, you did. Snow, S-N-O-W, forecasted for this week. Well, look out, be ready. They've got all your snowmobiles. They've got all the snow bikes. They've got all the accessories. They've got very knowledgeable people serving you at Let's Ride. As I said, they're located at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and a great, great service department to keep you running, too. Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. You stop over and see those really good folks today. And over in that area, I also want to remind you about Cameron and Siemens Insurance with Todd and the whole crew on Highway 24 going in on the curve into Rupert. Absolutely, in Rupert. That's right. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more for you, your family, and your business to be covered. They are very thoughtful and caring and dedicated to serving you. Don't forget Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Number to call, 436-4424. Really good folks. By the way, too, our old buddy Rick over at Mountain Transmissions, I want to remind you, he said, hey, if you're going someplace and you're not sure about your transmission in your vehicle, it might be slipping and dripping a little bit, and it won't shift into the gear you're wanting, like you're going driving, you want to go reverse, you got a problem. You better get a hold of Rick, and they offer free estimates and free diagnosis. Happy Thanksgiving from Mountain Transmissions. 504 East Main in Burley. Number to call, 678-9110. Right now, we're going to go over the river and through the snow. To Frosty's house we go. Good morning, Frosty Woldridge. How are you? Is he there, Wheels?
Yes, sir, he is.
Morning, Frosty. How are you doing?
Well, and good morning, Zeb, and just a very happy Thanksgiving to everyone listening today, and hopefully you're blessed with a good turkey day and good friends and good family. And this is really the one thing I like about Thanksgiving is you don't have to give out a bunch of gifts. You're not mandated to be anything to anybody. What you're really part of Thanksgiving is to just be thankful for your good fortune, thankful for your family, thankful for your loved ones, and share dinner together and have that kind of community and fellowship. So I wish that for everyone listening today to have a very joyful and meaningful Thanksgiving.
I must ask you, my dear friend of many, many years, have you sharpened the knife I gave you years ago so that you can cut the tofu turkey?
That's right, and I still have the Zeb Bell knife, absolutely, and I absolutely can cut the tofu turkey with it.
Listen, I got to tell you that I read your story. I just scanned it briefly prior to going on the air this morning about becoming a baby boomer after World War II, the early years, and let me just give you the gist of what I took from this. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because I've got a whole bunch of things to talk to you about DACA and other things. But the gist of what I took away, and it brought back a lot of fond memories for me also growing up on a farm in the neighboring state of Wisconsin, that city kids today, and people that are not exposed to chores, people that are not exposed to real work that has to be done every day. Our kids are really lacking in an integrity and a work responsibility that we're losing so fast, I don't know if we'll ever be able to get it back. What are your thoughts?
Well, there's no question about the fact that we're losing the sense of work ethic. And what has made America great was the opportunity to be a free country and have free choices for every individual, and the most important foundation for that is your education. And as you now know, education is becoming less and less impactful because we have dumbed down the school system so much that these kids are coming out of high school without any common sense. Number one, they're having a tremendous lack of mathematics skills, reading skills, and writing skills, and critical thinking skills. And that's one of the things that I learned on the farm was common sense. In other words, you don't pee on an electric fence, and you learn all those kinds of things while being a farm boy, and then growing up to be a farm hand. And so you're exactly right. There's no foundational understanding of what it is to be a contributor here in the United States, and that's proven every day by the extraordinary welfare of 45 million people on food stamps. You've got all these people on welfare. You see that our systems are being broken down. So you're exactly correct, Zeb. We're losing that sense of worth ethic here in the United States of America.
You know, when I think back, and your birthday and my birthday were born in the same year, I think back of all the times that Dad said, you do this is your daily chore, and you better have it done, and if you didn't, there was heck to pay. But I look back with those memories because it taught me responsibility, even though I hated it at the time, standing there in the hot, humid summers of Wisconsin and having to do various things like painting all the whiteboard fence and everything else. But I look back and it gave me a work ethic that stayed with me now for my whole life. And these kids today, what have they got to motivate them?
Well, and that's exactly what's happened. Again, all these kids, and they're being, pushed by, socialists like somebody like Ocasio, AOC, or certainly Bernie Sanders, or even Elizabeth Warren. And in fact, most people don't realize is that Bernie Sanders has never had a job in his life. He was a hippie. He goofed off. He had a party, and then finally somebody voted him into the Congress. Where he's pretended to have a job for the last 30 or 25, 30 years now, in which he's done absolutely nothing to really further the American people and certainly stand by the American Constitution. And he's a socialist, and that's what he's thrived on, not having to work, not just riding on somebody else's back. You get enough people like Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren to give out all these freebies, there's going to be less and less of us who worked. And I worked my whole life, right from age 11 all the way till now. I'm still working and bringing home a paycheck. So we've got a real big problem, and I'm not sure. It's almost like the eating paradigm of this country. Everybody thinks that they're going to a fast food joint is a solid foundational meal, which it isn't. And look at what's happened to our country physically and certainly obesity-wise and disease-wise. Well, the same thing's happening right there in the work situation. And it's funny because there's a thing on Facebook that has a girl coming in to get an interview with a employer, and she's tapping away on her cell phone, and he says, "Well, I want you here sharp every morning, 8 o'clock." She says, "Oh, I don't get up until 9, and I have a latte. I could come in by 11." And of course, the whole interview showed you how irresponsible these younger generations are, and what they have no respect for, and that's what they have no respect for is work.
Well, okay, but this all dovetails into another area that you and I, especially you, are very proficient to talk about, and that is the refugees in our situation in America, and also our illegal aliens that are being thrust into the workforce and have no clue what they're doing, really have no education, and we're seeing them basically get into the fast food industry. And like I said to you a couple of weeks ago, a doctor that I trust with all my heart and soul made a very worrisome remark saying that he worries about all of these people from New York to L.A. getting involved in the food business because of their lack of hygiene and understanding on really how to handle food in a very civilized society. What are your thoughts?
Well, and again, that's exactly the same situation that has caused all of these refugees, is a lack of intellectual curiosity, a lack of intellectual horsepower, and lack of personal accountability and responsibility. Mexicans coming up to America have less than a sixth grade education on average, with even rudimentary skills as far as writing and reading, and that's only in Spanish. And sixth grade education, anybody understand that a sixth grader really hasn't got much of a education at all? But it's also proving out in places like Minneapolis, Minnesota, where all of those Somalis, about 125,000 of them, or virtually all of them, are on welfare. They're all on food. They're on cash payment welfare, and they're on EBT card welfare. So they're just taking a free ride, and with no accountability, and certainly no way for them to become contributing members here in the United States. Same thing in Detroit, Michigan. 93% of those Muslims that are about over 300,000 of them in Detroit right now, they're all on welfare. The men just don't work, and that's part of their culture. The men don't work. In Somalia, the men don't work. They don't work in the Congo. They don't work in Ethiopia. Why do you think all those societies have failed so graphically? Is because they don't have any work ethic, they don't have any educational ethic, and therefore they have failed societies, failed countries, failed civilizations, and now we're importing that same failed culture into our own country, and we're paying for it big time. And as I've said many times, you, the American taxpayer, pays out $113 billion a year across 15 federal agencies to prop up all of these people that have no work ethic and not enough intellectual capacity to even begin to work. And you're paying for it. I'm paying for it. We're paying for it every day that we go to work ourselves.
You know, one thing, I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this, and you're going to have to bear with me a little bit, Frosty. I'm sucking on a cough drop here. But student loan debt. You and I have talked about many, many subjects, and I don't know if we've ever breached this or not, but the Democrats, especially Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and others, want to excuse and forgive student loan debt. And I'm sitting there, and this just makes my knuckles white. I paid for my college education out of my own pocket. I worked 2 jobs every day and then went to school with about maybe 3 hours of sleep, and I'm not bragging about myself any more so than anyone else, but I paid for my own education. I didn't ask anybody to forgive my debt to go to college. And I am absolutely, and I'll use this sentence, I will be damned if I'll support this excusing of debt for students to go to school. What are your thoughts?
Well, number one, we all have to pay for whatever it is we do in life after K through 12. The American taxpayer in every community pays K through 12, and I support that. I pay K through 12 right now for all the students, and I'm happy to do that. When you go into a vocational tech school, it means you want to better yourself, and it means also that you have to invest. You've got to put investment of yourself into a vocational tech school and or college. And I have found, as an educator myself, because I taught school, I've taught at Cornell, I've taught at Michigan State, I've taught at Denver University, I've taught at quite a few different schools, and if you don't have an investment in your education past high school, then you simply are more liable to goof off and slide and take it easy and attend more parties rather than do your educational due diligence. So this giving people a free debt-free or pay off their debts college protocol, I'm sorry. What Elizabeth Warren and somebody like Bernie Sanders want to do is use everybody else's money to pay for those to get a free education in college, and it doesn't work for me either because I worked my tail feathers off to get through college, and I'm proud that I did that because I was the first kid in my family, a farm boy out of Michigan, to actually graduate from college. And so you better put in your own shtick. In other words, your own work and your own sweat to gain your college degree. And I think that's the most important thing. Pay back your debts. If you get a debt, you pay back a debt.
Let me ask you this, and I'm sure you follow these stories and you write about various and sundry items, but when you look at all the Democrats that are still still standing at that podium trying to become the Democratic nominee for the presidency. And they've even added some more names like Michael Bloomberg and Tom Steyer. And now there's rumors that Hillary still might jump into the puddle of water. You never hear one of them, not one of them, talk about the saturation of all these illegal aliens and refugees coming into this country. And we can't support them. They can't support themselves, and we, literally, the American public, are taking money out of our retirement, taking money out of our jobs, taking money out of our children's education to support them, and nobody says anything about it.
That's the great tragedy facing us, and I've spoken about it time and time again for the last 18 years I've been with you, and the fact is, at some point, our systems are not going to be able to handle all of this. Again, we're $22 trillion in debt, and at some point, those notes will become due. And at some point, we're not going to be able to pay for them. And so that is the tragedy of what's happening in Congress. And certainly with the Democrats right now, they are socialists. You have to understand that a socialist wants to give your money that you work hard for to everyone who doesn't work hard for that money, to equalize them in this society. And as you're looking over at Venezuela right now, and any and all of the different countries I've traveled through in my lifetime, it doesn't work. It's not working in Venezuela. Look what's not working in Mexico. Why do you think we're being flooded? And what is the great tragedy is the American people have not voted out such people as Elizabeth Warren or Hudson or Maxine Waters. You can go right on down the list of those Congress people who have never secured the U.S. border because somebody's making a lot of money on the side, kind of like Marriott hotels, McDonald's, Chipotle's, Tyson, Hormel Foods up there in Minnesota. You can go on down the line. Those criminal, career, corrupt politicians that have not had term limits are literally scamming the entire American tax-paying public, and we're paying the bill, and they're having a party up there, and the laws keep getting broken, and we pay the bill for that.
Absolutely. We've got about 3 minutes left. Caller, quickly. I'll take your call, and you're on the air. Go, please.
Well, you're talking about Democratic congressmen and Heather's. AOC is from New York City. Elise Stefanik is from up north in the New York State, and she is a absolute star. And because she stood up for what was right, she is being attacked by the left. And I know you know this, but thank God for her. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, please, Frosty, if you're aware of Elise Stefanik standing up at the hearings last week.
I loved what she had to say. I listened to her, and she was stupendous. We need more forthright speaking like she did, and we need more others to stand up and speak out and really stand up for the Constitution and stand up for our country. What's going on right now, whether it's Shifty Schiff, who himself has a checkered past of sexually molesting aides during his time as a congressional person, and then tapping into that little fund that got him off. I mean, that guy is truly a slime ball. That's what he is. He's a slime ball. He's orchestrated this entire fraudulent, godforsaken impeachment inquiry, knowing that it's not going to make it through the Senate, and yet causing unbelievable waste of money and an unbelievable waste of time for the American taxpayer, and turning, again, this deep state and all of these guys trying to take down the President of the United States, who was duly elected by the American people, has been one of the greatest scandals in all of history. The historians are going to go nuts. And I listened to Mark Levine last night, and I want to really, if you get a chance to listen to Mark Levine, he was on Fox Nation last night. He spelled this thing out. It is unbelievable, the fraud in the deep state. They're trying to unseat a duly elected President of the United States, Donald Trump. And my dander is up on this, and we need to absolutely, as the American people, stop it. And public opinion should literally say, enough of this, get on and start serving the American people. So that is my feeling, and I'm very strong about it, as you can tell.
One final thought, and I'm sure you saw this, and I laughed until my sides hurt, when Elon Musk was unveiling his new Tesla pickup. And, of course, they put the electric truck up on a pedestal, the ugliest vehicle I have ever seen in my entire life, and wanted to prove how security-wise their armored guard windows were, and they had a gentleman pick up a rock and throw the rock right through the windows, and I think it might have hurt sales a little bit.
Oh, I watched it. Not only did he throw one rock and busted the window, he threw two rocks and busted the window twice. It was absolutely hilarious. And again, they should have had somebody doing a little bit more testing before they brought out in front. And I have never seen, when they spell the word ugly, that car is going to be the new benchmark for ugly, because that is an ugly piece of machinery. So I'm really quite thrilled that what happened really happened, because it is one ugly piece of work, and sad to say Elon Musk really failed on this one.
I must ask, because you've been such a close friend for all these many years, in your neighborhood, if it is your turn perhaps to invite the neighbors in the direct proximity of your place over for Thanksgiving, what do they do when they sit down and see the preparation and the placement of the tofu turkey on the table?
Well, of course, all of my friends are of the same kind of nutritional orientation, so there's no problem. We all get a big laugh. It's a lot of fun. In fact, we had a nice pre-Thanksgiving dinner with the two boys last night and family members, so it was quite delightful. So yeah, we're the tofu turkey cuts by the Zeb at the Ranch knife, and it works very well. It's so sharp that it slides through the tofu almost like a hot knife through butter.
I want to wish you and your lovely wife and your entire family the happiest of Thanksgivings. You have been every plus friend that you could be for me on this show. You've always been there when I needed you, and happy Thanksgiving. Please have a wonderful day.
And to you and Deanne and your family and all the loved ones and everyone listening at Zeb at the Ranch, God bless and happy Thanksgiving, and we'll talk next time.
All right. God bless you, Frosty. Thank you very, very much. Dear friend, Frosty Woldridge, Golden, Colorado. And right now it's time for the weather. Actually, it's past time. I'm running a little bit late here. The weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years of excellence and professionalism, with the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, retirement planning, all of this and so much more. And they've got two offices, one in Rupert, one in Burley, to serve you. All you need to do is just call and make an appointment. They are the best at what they do. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
If you were wondering when the snow is going to arrive, well, apparently this is the week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting a 30% chance of snow showers for today. High of 36. Tonight, those clouds are going to be sticking around with a low of 20. For Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies. Not really much snowfall during the day. High of 35. 50% chance of snow showers for Tuesday night. We are expecting a low of 20. 70% chance of snow showers for Wednesday, expecting a high of about 39, and accumulations of less than 1 inch possible then by Thanksgiving Day. 50% chance of snow, we're expecting about an inch, and cloudy skies with a high near 31. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Gina. Yeah, well, it's that time of the year. We're going to see some snow and some blustery conditions. Our weather forecast brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And as I said a moment ago, two offices, one at 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley, the other at 625th Street in Rupert. They are the best at what they do in serving you. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. What have we got coming up next hour? Well, we're going to be visiting with a man that has taken off a lot of weight, over 63 pounds, and he's with Tops, Take Off Pounds Sensibly, and we're going to talk to Fred Stark in Burley. He's going to be on the program. I know you're saying, well, why did you put him on right before Thanksgiving? Well, you can maybe kind of discern what you should do and shouldn't do as far as your eating habits are concerned, so we're going to talk to him at about 10:06. Then, at 10:30 this morning, we've got Pacific Legal Foundation Daniel Ortner on the program, so it's going to be really, really good. Talking about how California is going to force corporate boardrooms to just automatically say, thou shalt appoint a woman for that seat on the board. We're going to talk about that. Happy Thanksgiving notices from our friends at Magic Valley Irrigation. Jeff and the entire crew at Magic Valley Irrigation, they've been offering irrigation system service and repair since 1978. They really enjoy serving the farmers in this area at 44 East, 500 South of Burley, Magic Valley Irrigation. And Magic Valley Carpet at 613 D Street in Rupert. My. Good people. All your carpet needs, all your flooring needs, and they from Magic Valley Carpet in Rupert extend to you a very happy Thanksgiving. And my buddy, Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. And I hope Doug's on the mend. Had a little surgery last week, feeling better. 635 21st Street in Heyburn. Don't forget Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. And remember the senior centers for all of our holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, etc. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. Okay. What else have I got here real quick that I've got to remember? I had another public service announcement, but it went by the wayside. A real quick note, we had Lunch Bunch last week on Thursday, and there's quite a few of our Lunch Bunchers that are a little under the weather. Some are really going through some physical problems, and a couple that we'd like to acknowledge, Gloria Strucan and, of course, Gene Staley. And for those that are near them or by them, please extend our best, and we hope they feel better. Our Lunch Bunch means a lot. We get together and have a good time, and if you know somebody that's not doing too well or under the weather or can't get out for Thanksgiving or whatever, just take the time maybe to call them, wish them well, or maybe even make plans to take them a little something to eat, okay? Let's see, what else have we got cooking here for the rest of the week? Of course, Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, we're going to be off the air. I want to remind you that. But tomorrow and Wednesday, we've got a full plate of really top-notch professionals that are coming on this program, so don't miss a minute of it. I want to also mention to you about our friends at Patterson's. Oh, my goodness sakes, quickly before we go to the news break, they have got something really, really special going on at Patterson's TV and electronics. I urge you to stop in and see these people because they've got it all for you. They've got home theater systems, video surveillance cameras, car stereos and speakers, complete sound systems, TVs, all kinds of TVs. And at Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley, when you go in and you're up at the counter, just tell them what your favorite charity is. And at the end of this month, Patterson's are going to take the two most mentioned charities, and Patterson's are going to donate $500 to the top two. Whoa! My goodness, nice people. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Closed on Sundays, Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley. Let's go to the news from CBS. Oh, good morning on a Monday, November 25th. A couple of more days before Thanksgiving. God bless you and your family. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving Day on Thursday. Don't forget, Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by, of course, our number one sponsor and advertiser, and that's, of course, your Magic Valley. Excuse me for the cold this morning, folks. I'm sorry. Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with all the tires you need to get through whatever the winter throws at you on the highways and byways. They've got the best of tires for all your vehicles at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And, of course, our thanks go out to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And last but not least, Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. About 3 weeks ago, I think it was, or maybe a little longer, I was introduced to 7K Metals, and I am absolutely thankful that Lon Hardy and Sharon Wilmot took the time to discuss with Deanne and I a way that we can help ourselves build our financial security and futures through silver. And you can create literally your own security bank through silver purchases from 7K Metals. And the silver comes right to your home, and it is a saving opportunity for you and a valued treasure for your loved ones. I urge you to call them and tell them I told you to call Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon Wilmot at 430-3259. Again, tell them I told you to call and find out more about silver futures for you through 7K Metals. Call them today. Right now, I'm going to go to the phone line, and I've got a gentleman that was very, very nice when I called him and said that he would come on the air and talk about 63 pounds of weight loss through the TOPS program. Take off pounds sensibly. Good morning, Fred Stark. How are you?
I am fine today. Good morning to you, too.
Fred, I don't think we've ever had the occasion to meet, but you live in the Burley-Hayburn area. Is that correct?
Yes, I live in Burley.
Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I'm certainly not going to try to pry into anything that might embarrass you or whatever, but what was the final straw that broke the camel's back, and I'm not saying that to be funny, to create a need for you to say we're going to go into a weight loss program?
Well, of course, I had my family history to be concerned about with, but 6 years ago I had a stroke, and it retired me. So I returned to fishing, and I had bought a pontoon, a boat, an inflatable pontoon. But the problem is when I went out there and tried to use the oars, the right side was different than the left side, and I just went in circles. So at my 305 pounds, I was over limit for the capacity of this pontoon.
Oh,
and
my.
having a battery and a trolling motor put me way over the limit, so I had to lose weight to get onto my pontoon and fish with it.
Okay, now let me ask you this, Fred, and again, I admire you for having the courage and the strength and the willpower to do what you did, but I guess my question would be, how did you allow yourself to get to that 305 pounds?
Well, just inactivity and the fact that I had a stroke that made me inactive is probably how I got to that 305 pounds.
Okay. And what happened one day? You just said, that's it, I quit, I'm going to find a way to lose this weight. Tell us how that happened.
Well, of course, it was the pontoon deal that started this. And I went to the VA's MOVE program, and that's how I started losing weight. But one day I was walking through the park at a veterans event at the Rupert City Park, and I was choking down 2 hot dogs, and I needed a drink. So I wandered over to a table of ladies that were passing out mild water. And this happened to be the local TOPS Club. And sure enough, they had convinced me that I needed to join, and I joined, and that's the rest is history.
You know, Fred, it took a lot of courage, I'm sure, to all of a sudden try to change your lifestyle. But with the TOPS program, which stands for Take Off Pounds Sensibly, what do they tell you? How do you do it? I mean, what's the initial first step?
Well, the initial first step is to be educated to the different foods and stuff that's out there. And then what really helps this particular thing is the accountability of doing it in a group situation. Every Thursday there's a meeting. We go there, we weigh in, and we hold each other accountable in a very friendly way. You know, they challenge each other to lose weight and compliment each other when we do. So it's a good process.
So you lost 63 pounds. Now, over how long a period of time did it take you to do that?
It took a year, and actually, before I lost 63 pounds with Tops. Before I was at 205, so I actually had lost 93 pounds total.
Oh my!
Tops is responsible for 63 pounds of it.
Oh my goodness! What was the big food or diet that you had to change? I mean, how did you change your lifestyle, and what did you change about your eating?
Okay, well, the first thing was I stopped using creamer in my coffee. And I was using so much creamer that I don't know that I was putting creamer in my coffee or coffee in my creamer. I was using that much. And then the other thing is that I had to stop going to a local supermarket and buying the large $5 greasy, cheesy pizza. And I'd have that consumed in a half hour. So that was the two major starting points.
Well, what would you tell people that are listening, I mean, as far as building up an attitude that, no, you don't really need to have 3 cupcakes or that great big 6-scoop dish of ice cream? That takes a lot of willpower, doesn't it?
Yes, and the mindset that I love this food or I love that food or I'm a meat and potatoes person, just can't work. You have to allow yourself to be free enough to make other food choices.
Now, what about, you mentioned this earlier, that you had a stroke, and you and I have had comparable stories. I've had a heart attack and a stroke, and I don't know how tall you are, etc. I'm right at 6 foot, and I weigh now, and I've been on kind of a self-imposed diet, and I'm still overweight. I weigh about 221.
Oh, that's good.
It is good, and I exercise. The reason I was asking you about that is, did you develop an exercise program to go along with this?
No, I didn't. I didn't really go out of my way, but I found that I just got more active as I was able to bend over and do things, and going out fishing and stuff like that increased. So my activity level did increase, but it was not a go to the gym type of thing.
I see. You know, I put you on purposely 2 days before Thanksgiving, 3 days before Thanksgiving, and the reason I wanted you on purposely before Thanksgiving is, what would you tell my audience about Thanksgiving, eating, and watching your weight? What would you tell them?
It's a matter of portion control would be the first thing, you know. I mean, and as you are at Thanksgiving dinners, you're invited to eat this and try this, and you can politely say, "Oh, that looks great, but I'll just have a little bite and stuff." So you have to just be polite and control the portions that you eat.
You know, would it be safe in saying, Fred, that maybe the meal itself, if you're going to go overboard on one day, but it might be all the leftovers for days afterwards? That causes the problem, too.
Yes, I'm sure that is. And as you put things in your mouth, if you thought about, okay, now how much exercise would I have to do to keep this going to my waist, you might consider, oh, well, I don't know if I want to do that much exercise. I just won't eat it.
Absolutely. Now, are you at a level where you're comfortable, or are you still trying to take off more weight?
No, I've reached my comfortable. I am just at the very top of the BMI for what my weight and height is. So, but I'm going to stay there because it's, and that's one thing about this TOS program. Once you get to your weight goal, you become what is called a COP, and that is keep off pounds sensibly. And you're still required to weigh in and stuff, and held accountable for being with within a certain range of your goal weight.
Let me ask you this. Did you establish the 63 pounds as the goal, or did someone else establish it? How did you come up with that particular weight?
Well, what I did is I went to a health professional, and the health professional, I said, well, can I get to this pound, and would that be a healthy weight goal for me? So it's because of a doctor's recommendation is the goal that I had.
Okay. Now, I didn't ask you, are you still working, or are you retired, or what's your daily activity like?
Well, no, I am retired. The stroke kind of retired me, and so. But I'm very active. I'm a tinker. My hobbies are like gathering up fishing equipment from the yard sales and estate sales, and fix them and stuff, and then I go out and test them.
Well, my. You know, talking about the TOPS program, I've heard of this before and never really looked into it. If people are interested in Take Off Pounds Sensibly, what do they do? How do they get started?
Okay, well, you can always find a local chapter at www.tops.org. Now, our chapter meets on Thursdays. We're at 410 East 3rd Street, Rupert, and visitors are always welcome. The first meeting is free of charge, so you can just pop in at 8:30 to 9 o'clock and see what the program is about.
Let me ask you this, and I don't mean to sound like I'm making fun of this at all, but what do you serve for snacks at your meeting?
Our sunshine lady provides us with a bagel with peanut butter.
I see.
And coffee.
I see. You know, what would you say, though, about a diet? I mean, what foods do you try to stay away from or eat minimally? I mean, what are your real target areas to stay away from?
Well, the starches is one category. Potato, rice, macaroni, cheese, bread. I limit those. And then the fattier meats, the bacon, the sausage, cheeses, stuff like that. And the first place I go to when I go shopping is the produce department.
Okay. All right, now I'm going to tell you what I eat during the day, and you tell me how far off I am, okay?
Okay.
All right.
I'll try.
All right, for breakfast, I will either have cold cereal at 4 o'clock in the morning and an orange juice and a cup of plain coffee, or I will have a piece of non-sugared jelly toast with one egg on top of it. How's that for breakfast?
I say you're doing really good.
Okay, now for lunch, I will have either a chicken breast with a sliced up apple with a little peanut butter and cottage cheese, or a small piece of cheese. How's that?
That is good. How you're cooking that chicken breast is the variable there.
Okay, now what do you mean how I'm cooking it?
Oh, you're frying it with a coating of breadcrumbs and grease and stuff like that. So,
no.
Baking it is usually the best way to cook chicken breast.
All right. And then for supper, I usually have maybe sometimes a chicken fettuccine Deanne makes with a vegetable or a spinach salad, or I might have chicken breast with maybe a small amount of mashed potatoes and green beans. That's basically what I have every day. How bad is that?
No, you're actually very good. I think that you probably have maintained your weight and never gone up or down too much like that. You're doing pretty good.
But my weakness, I got to tell you something, Fred. I'm going to share this with you and thousands of people right now, that when I drive by an ice cream store or stand, the wheel of my pickup automatically wants to turn in.
Yes, that ice cream is a temptation. I guess I'm lucky in the sense that the coldness of the ice cream just hurts my teeth. So I don't have to worry about that ice cream decision very much.
Well, what is your biggest weakness, though? I mean, everybody's got a weak point. Some people might say cherry pie. Some people might say chocolate brownies. Some people might say ice cream. What's your weak point that you really have to steer away from?
Well, my ice cream substitute is yogurt.
Oh, okay.
And then, so it's just a warmer and not so sweet of an ice cream that I can eat it.
What about meats in general? What about the protein and the meats, excluding a lot of salt and excluding a lot of ketchup and everything? How are they for you?
Well, I avoid bacon, and unfortunately was always my favorite, bacon, and the greasier cuts of meat, like the hamburger. Some hamburgers have a high percentage of fat in them. I avoid them, and but the bacon is probably the main one that I avoid.
And fruits and vegetables like oranges, apples, and that type of thing, it's kind of open the door and just enjoy, or what?
No, yes, apples are my go-to dessert.
I see.
I will go through about maybe 4 to 5 apples a day.
Oh, my.
Because they're just this really neat, sweet snack you can have, and you can stave off your hunger by just having an apple for like midday or something like that. It's a real good hunger quencher.
Well, you know, I admire you, Fred, for a couple of reasons. Number one, I admire your tenacity for staying with this, and I also admire your openness for sharing that with us. Any final thoughts about the TOPS program or losing weight in general?
Okay, well, weight TOPS is a non-profit organization. You're not going to find them having a movie star spokesperson or anything. And there's more than 10,000 or 100,000 members throughout the United States and Canada, and you're not losing weight, you're gaining health.
Yeah, and besides that, your pontoon boat doesn't just go in circles.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, Fred, I want to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving and God's blessings for the future. I hope you stay in great health, and thank you again for coming on my program. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for having me.
You bet. God bless you, man. Thanks. Fred Stark of Burley, and he lost over 63 pounds in a year with the TOPS program. And he, along with a lady, were the top 2 in the state of Idaho. Then 63 pounds, that is a lot of weight. Congratulations to Fred Stark. What a nice man, too. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to acknowledge some more of our Happy Thanksgiving spots, and as I'm turning the page, trying to find everything on my wonderful desk, I also want to remind you that the 3 people I'm going to talk about right now are always there serving us. Number 1, Senator Kelly Anthon from District 27. This man has been so devoted to serving his constituents, and regardless of the time, regardless of the problem, regardless of the subject, he's always there to help. Senator Kelly Anthon, wishing you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving. Then, of course, Representative Fred Wood from District 27, Seat B. You know, there's never been a time I haven't called Fred and said, hey, Fred, I need help on this issue, or I need you to come on the radio and talk about this issue. He's always there, and he thanks everybody who's supported him in the past. Representative Fred Wood and his family saying Happy Thanksgiving. And last but not least, Representative Speaker of the House Scott Bedke from District 27, Seat A. There's a man that is the John Wayne. He's a real live cowboy rancher up in Oakley, and he always takes time out of an extremely busy schedule to help others and serve his constituents. Representative Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, and he wishes you a very happy Thanksgiving. Let's see where we're at here. We've got time for one more quick call. Somebody give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. 63 pounds. That is a lot of weight and a lot of dedication. And I've lost, I think since a year and a half ago, I've lost probably right at about 19, 20 pounds. And it's a lot easier to put it on than it is to take it off. Let me tell you that. It's amazing. And it's one of the wonders of the world how those Wrangler jeans that you hang in the closet shrink. If you get my drift. Tomorrow at Community Builders Hardware Store here in Murtaugh, they're going to have a baked food sale, and they're going to have prize drawings and everything else, and the net proceeds are going to go to the benefit for Rosie Cummins. This is an outstanding girl that has gone through quite a few different health issues, and we want to wish her God's blessings and the best for the future. And that's going to be tomorrow at the Community Builders Hardware Store in Murtaugh. Don't forget that. Then, on Thursday, they're planning a fun run on Thanksgiving morning, and I believe they're going to start at the Murtaugh Gym, and then I do not know the course after that. But for more information on this, and again, the proceeds go to help Rosie Cummins, call Shayla Hepworth at 731-1666 for more information, okay? Got you covered. Right now, we're going to send it over to our main studios and old Wheels at the main studio. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you much. Don't forget Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes, they've got all kinds of big sales going on right now. Pre-Black Friday sales. My goodness, they got 50% off on retail prices on certain select items. Don't forget they've got a huge, I mean really big selection of recliners. I think the biggest anywhere, anytime. You got to go in and try one on to make sure it fits you. Don't forget they always have the best of all your furniture, all your bedroom needs. And they've got it all for you. Window coverings, all your carpet and floor covering. What are you waiting for? Work with the professionals at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. And I know Jeff and the rest of the crew, they want to wish to you a very happy Thanksgiving. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and we have with us one of the attorneys with the Pacific Legal Foundation, and that's Daniel Ortner. Daniel, good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Doing well yourself?
I got a little bit of a cold, so you're lucky we're on the telephone. I can't pass this down the line to you.
I hope you feel better.
Daniel, what in the world? I read a little bit about this on my program last week, but in California, it looks like government is trying to meddle and get their nose like a camel under the tent flap and tell boardrooms, corporate boardrooms, that they must put women on the corporate boards. What's going on?
That's right. California is claims it's trying to help women, but really this is a sexist patronizing act on the part of the state of California. Women don't need the handout from the state of California, and what they're doing is ultimately unconstitutional.
How can they force this, Daniel? Elaborate on this a little bit. I mean, what are they saying that a certain corporation must put women on the board? It's not the most qualified, but they're saying thou must put women on the board.
Sure. So they're saying there's been a history of women not being given positions on boardrooms and in CEO positions, and even though that's dramatically changing, women have made remarkable progress in the past decade. Every single year over the past 7 years or 8 years, Fortune 500 companies have increased 4, 5, 6, 7% of representation of women. So it's happening without the state of California's intervention. But California has decided, it's happening. Natural change is too slow for us. We're going to have to step in, give women a boost to help them out. But really, what's going to happen is it's going to stigmatize the women that do get put on these boards. They're going to be seen as just the diversity hire, the quota hire. It's going to take away from talented women that are serving on boards of corporations all the time without the help of the state of California.
I do have a question that just popped up in my head right there. How and who do they, whoever they is, discern who's going to be on that board?
Well, they do leave it to the corporations, whatever the process is. Usually shareholders are the ones voting. We're representing right now, challenging this law, representing a shareholder of a publicly traded company, because shareholders are the ones that ultimately in most corporations make the decision of who gets on the board. So what California really is doing is telling shareholders, you now have to take sex into account when you're voting for someone on the board. You can't just select the best person regardless of sex. You have to now take sex into account and take this quota into account, and that violates the ideal that everyone is going to be treated equally under the law. The idea of equal protection for all, where you're treated as an individual and not based on your characteristics like your sex, your gender, or other characteristics.
You know, this is, Daniel, this is kind of a Pandora's box, if you will, that scares me. I mean, we've got government saying thou shalt and thou will, or thou will suffer the consequences. We're looking at, I'll give you another example that really bothers me, and it's the NFL with the Rooney Rule. It's other Major League Baseball, etc., where they're saying, well, wait a minute, you didn't interview someone of this ethnicity or race, and so you better not hire so-and-so. Whatever happened to just hiring the most qualified for the position?
So, private companies can, choose the policies that they want with the limits of civil rights law, but when the government does it, that is really when it gets scary. And I think you're right. This is a dangerous direction to be going in. Illinois was considering this last year following California's footsteps, but they were going to enact not just a gender quota, but also a race quota. They were going to say how many blacks and how many Hispanics need to be on a corporate board. Unfortunately, that law did not pass, but if California's law goes unchallenged and stays on the books, I think that's what we're going to see in the next couple of years. Are states following California's lead and doing this or worse, forcing interfering with the composition of private companies and forcing these companies to make race-based or sex-based decisions.
Daniel, who is pushing this? I mean, there's got to be a who or a they. I mean, who are these people that are out there trying to push this?
I think it's progressive policymakers who feel like women are underrepresented. They have a very stereotyped idea of women. Women are just a representative of their gender, and so they say, well, if women are on the board, they're going to make different decisions than men. Even though everyone is different. Women are women and men. Everyone is an individual who makes their own decisions. You can't stereotype people based on their sex. That's the whole idea of the Equal Protection Clause. But that's what California is doing. They're saying, well, we want more women on the board because they're going to lead to better policies in the long run, as if you can know what an individual is going to choose based on their sex.
I saw something last week at the impeachment hearings that scared me, Daniel, and it kind of dovetails into what we're talking about here this morning. Some of the answer or questions that were asked of some of the female witnesses at that impeachment hearing, the Democrats, I'm going to point and use names, the Democrats were offended because they said, oh, well, that was too harsh. That was too sexist against that poor woman. And I maintain that if it's a woman attorney or if it's a woman on a board for a major corporation, if they want to be treated the same in equal positions on those boards, then if something happens where there's a personality conflict, men should not run away from the confrontation. What are your thoughts?
Well, I would say really the important message we're sending with the lawsuit that we filed is when it comes to the government, government has to treat everyone equally, regardless of of their sex, their gender, their race, these kind of characteristics. I think that's the important principle. And what individuals do, I think, is, what culture does is a different question, but I think what really is important is government cannot be meddling and engaging in these kinds of quotas. Because that's really what California is doing. It's a sex quota. You have to have this number of women on your board, or else you face fines and penalties by the state of California.
What about the removal of that said person if they're not doing the job, or if there's something malicious that is done, or some act of felony that is done against the company? How do they get rid of them?
Sure, it would just be the normal process for choosing a board member, but at the end of the year, basically, if at the the company did not have the right number of women on the board, so in January it's going to be every company has to have one, but starting in 2 years from now, it's going to be that larger companies that have 6 or more board members are going to have 3 women on the board. So every spot that there isn't a woman on the board that needs to be there, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines for these companies.
Oh my goodness!
So it's going to add up quickly if a company doesn't have a few women on the board, women filling these spots. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so it is the government ultimately penalizing these companies, as you said, for their private decisions, for choosing the best person for the board, and it's going to force companies to select women for these boards regardless of the qualifications, and then it's going to lead people to say, oh, that woman was just hired because of this quota. So it's really going to ultimately rebound and harm women at the end of the day.
Where does the money go on the fines? Who reaps the benefit of getting the fine?
It would go to the coffers of the state of California. The Secretary of State would get the money. So, the government of California would be the one receiving it.
Oh, I see. So it's another money grab for the people that sit behind the big desk in government in California. But, most women that I know that are in the workforce and are very powerful, and I do know quite a few that have attained high levels of employment at various corporations, etc., I think they would look at this as a gratuitous kind of a slap in the face. If they can't earn it themselves, they don't want it. What are your thoughts?
I think that's right. I mean, it's reinforcing harmful stereotypes about women that they can't make it on their own. They can't make it without the state of California stepping in and forcing the matter. And that's just not true. Companies have been diversifying dramatically. I think it's a very positive change that's happened over the past decades. But you don't need the state to step in and force the matter.
With the state of politics today and the forcing now of saying, yes, you will have this woman or these women on your board, boy, what about the future? I mean, whether it comes down to maybe somebody saying, okay, on your board of directors, you have to have so many members of the LGBT, or you have to have this, that, or the other. The sky's the limit as to what they can demand, is it not?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And like I said, Illinois is already considering a race quota. I think the important principle the Supreme Court has said with regard to race discrimination is you have to show, for the government to do some kind of affirmative action program, you have to show a history of discrimination, specifically in that company or that industry. California has done none of that in enacting this quota. It's said, well, there's some disparity in results, so we're going to have to force this quota on everyone. There's no evidence that certain industries have discriminated. There's no evidence that women aren't naturally making it on their own without California's help. This quota is, for every publicly traded company, either headquartered or incorporated in California, regardless of industry. It lasts forever. There's no limiting principle to this. And so I think it's a very dangerous ground what California has done. It goes against what the Supreme Court and other courts have repeatedly said about the ideals of equal protection. That even if you're allowed some kind of affirmative action program, it has to be narrowly fit to remedy the harm of past discrimination. And that's not what California is doing at all.
Now, let me ask you this question then, and I'm not quite sure how to phrase it, Daniel, but if a corporation has subsidiary companies and boards across the United States, like Chicago, New York, Miami, whatever, could this soon be an interstate problem to where we're talking about the same thing encroaching in New York City and other places?
Well, right now it is already an interstate problem. So, like I said, California said if you're incorporated in California, you're bound by this, but also if you're just headquartered in California. So there are a whole lot of companies that are incorporated in Delaware, but have their headquarters in California for the weather or whatever various factors that bring them to California, have their headquarters being California. And now they are being bound by this. Actually, the company, we're representing a shareholder of a company that is in that position where they, about several years ago, moved from California to Delaware, incorporated in Delaware because they wanted the benefits of Delaware law. And now California is reaching out its arms and going after them as well. So I think that is another problem with this law.
What about
California is reaching out to companies that are not incorporated in California and especially chose not to remain in California?
Yeah. Daniel, what about, let's say that there's a 9-member board, and it has to stay, maybe with the bylaws, et cetera, of the company as a 9-member board. What about the person that's replaced on that board? Is there legal ramifications that they would be involved in?
Well, they would have the ability to sue, just like we're suing on behalf of a shareholder currently because this law hasn't gone into effect yet. But if someone was in that position and had been removed because of this quota, they absolutely would be able to sue. We're hoping they won't ever come to that because we're trying to get this law struck down before it ever gets to that point.
I see.
We've sued in district court here in California, arguing that this violates the 14th Amendment, the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution. So we're hoping that this law does not survive and will not, no one will be removed from a position because of it.
Okay. Now, if people want to follow this story and so many others with the Pacific Legal Foundation, what do they do?
Sure. Our website is pacificlegal.org. On there, we have information about all of our cases. We've won a dozen victories in the Supreme Court. We're fighting coast to coast for individual liberty. So you can go there, pacificlegal.org, learn more about what we're doing, join our fight for liberty and against government overreach in favor of individual rights.
When you say government overreach, then you have an unending supply of problems to work with, don't you?
That's right. Unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, states like California and the federal government keep us busy every day. But we love what we do. We get to fight for individuals and win, prevail against the government, defending liberty.
Absolutely. Daniel Ortner, I want to say happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you come back soon. On behalf of the Pacific Legal Foundation, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
All right, sir. Thank you. I am not against women being involved in any board of director. I'm not in opposition of anybody that is qualified for any position. And when they start forcing people because of sex or gender or race, oh, well, we got to have this diversity, then you've lost the true concept of a growing and building company where other people basically are controlling the growth of that company. And I think this is entirely wrong. And I hope that the Pacific Legal Foundation wins this case and it gets thrown out. Time for the weather. Hold on, I got a cough. Don't go away. Better for a few minutes anyway. Weather forecast is brought to you this. I'd love to have some more phone calls too, so give me a jingle on the landline. Weather forecast is brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew. Don was on the program with us last week on Thursday, I believe it was. And, of course, they're located at 331 North Road, Jerome. The telephone number to call, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. And, by the way, they've got turkeys ready for Thanksgiving, but limited numbers. You better give them a call and order yours today at 324-7657. That number again, 324-7657 at Scarro's Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
If you were wondering when the snow is going to arrive, well, apparently this is the week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting a 30% chance of snow showers for today. High of 36 tonight. Those clouds are going to be sticking around with a low of 20. For Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies. Not really much snowfall during the day. High of 35. 50% chance of snow showers for Tuesday night. We are expecting a low of 20. 70% chance of snow showers for Wednesday, expecting a high of about 39, and accumulations of less than 1 inch possible then by Thanksgiving Day. 50% chance of snow, we're expecting about an inch, and cloudy skies with a high near 31. That's a look at your weather forecast for 7th Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And, of course, our weather forecast for this hour brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Caller, thank you. You saved my bacon. I'm coughing. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, this impeachment farce with Schiff, and they, over the weekend or Friday, they were talking about that it was nothing more than an exercise to appease the rabid left. And, and I wonder, because if this thing goes to the Senate and there's hearings, as exposed as they were when the Republicans were able to cross-examine, anybody that watched that knew that that they were totally, the witnesses were staged, unprepared, had no actual evidence of anything. And if this thing goes to the Senate, it's going to be blunt.
I hope it is.
Say, well, why did they do it? Well, is it just because they said they had to appease their rabid base? And then, of course, I think Schiff, he wants to get his beautiful mug on the TV and get his chair propped up 6 inches. He wanted to be the king for a week and a half, I guess.
Well, I will say this, and I mean this when I say the following comment. I would love to see this go to a hearing and court procedure to where our President of the United States, Donald Trump, can defend himself and have the lawyers and the legalese be involved in a court case led by the Republicans to find out more about Adam Schiff, to find out more why there was a lying about the so-called whistleblower, to find out more about some of the Steele dossier and other problems about investigating Donald Trump through the Obama administration before the presidency was obtained by Donald Trump. I would love to see people like Hunter Biden on the stand. I would absolutely relish to see Adam Schiff on the stand. All of this would open up what needs to be fair and balanced, and it's not happening that way right now.
Absolutely not. Hunter Biden, has been running around, and he's been fooling around, and he's got a love child from another lady, even though he's involved with, he's a cad, ain't he? He's a mess, and he's probably still abusing drugs. And, covering for this guy is uncalled, it's a shame.
Well, I think the old saying, Randy, the truth will set you free. And in this case, I think the truth is going to lock up a lot of people.
Boy, I'm just hoping Barr and Durham and Horowitz and, you just hope, you pray and hope for some justice, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, buddy, I got to run, but thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. I want to remind you about our friends at Greystone Crossing, independent senior living on Alfresco Road. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with that terminology, that's 21st Street. And Greystone Crossing is just 1 mile east of Walmart. What a beautiful place. I urge seniors, I urge you right now to pick up the phone and call 650-4979. That number again, 650-4979 with the 208 prefix. Make an appointment to have Matt and Kelly Wiggins show you around this beautiful place. Furnishing 3 meals a day and housekeeping and snacks and local transportation. I mean, they really care. It's a community of your friends at Greystone Crossing. Please give them a call today. Greystone Crossing, where seniors live the good life with friends. Really, really good folks. And hopefully with a little bit of Mama Bell's medicine, I'll be feeling a lot better tomorrow. What have we got cooking for tomorrow? We've got Dan Kish going to be on the air from the American Energy Alliance. Mark Hancock's going to be on the program. Gary Shoresman is going to fill in tomorrow for the segment of Dr. History. And then we've got a gentleman by the name of Eric Goss coming on the program. So those are our home run hitters for tomorrow on Zeb at the Ranch. We also want to say a great big shout out to your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And I mean this when I say this, that they have all the tires for your vehicles. All. With all the different tread designs, all the sizes, everything is waiting for you. Don't be caught literally with your tires down. When the weather gets nasty and the roads get nasty and there's snow and ice and muck and yuck, they've got the tires that'll get you through. Stop in and see them today for your safe driving tires. And don't forget, too, they've got all the tire chains and the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more at all 7 locations serving you. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike in Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Oberlin in Burley. The best, all 7 of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. The best. Okay, let's see, what else have we got cooking here real quick? I mentioned about the benefit tomorrow. I want to hit it one more time. Baked food sale tomorrow and raffle, all kinds of fun things. And the benefit proceeds go to a young lady that has had more than her share of problems health-wise, and it's a benefit for Rosie Cummins, a lovely young lady. And that's going to be at Community Builders in tomorrow in Murtaugh. Don't forget that. And then on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, they're going to have a gobble wobble or whatever they call it. I can't remember. And that's going to start at, the Murtaugh High School Gymnasium. And for more information, again, the proceeds going to Rosie Cummins. Call Shayla, excuse me. Call Shayla at 731-1666. There you go. Until tomorrow, with my cough, my cold, glad you can't get it over the radio. We're going to say, like we always do when we end the program, the way things were are the way things ought to be. And the 4 big words that we really honor as being the most important: in God we trust. We certainly hope you'll have a good day. And real quick, I got to tell you this. Starting next week on Monday, you might be the lucky winner of a Christmas ham. And we're going to be giving away a lot of them right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Stay tuned for all the details. See you tomorrow morning at 8:06.